Hello there. The purpose of this video is to help you understand what you need to do in general for Essay 2 and specifically for Journal Assignment 6 or JA6. All right, and of course, as I've said before, this is the site for English 100 V05, but it applies to those of you who are in the V06 section. Let's go to the syllabus for a moment. I want to begin by saying that to ask you not to get confused between Essay 1 and Essay 2, all right? They are different topics, same paragraph structure, 5 paragraphs, but they are different topics in different essays. My preference is for there to be a week where we kind of finish essay number 1 and then the following week move on to essay number 2. It doesn't fit. I couldn't do that, okay? So you're finishing up essay number 1 and submitting it this week. Right now we are on week 6. And you're also beginning on essay number 2. Not to turn in the essay, but rather to start on the journals, right? On the journal assignments. And so that's why this video is about journal assignment 6. Okay, so let me show you some things on the Concourse syllabus. Just kind of to demonstrate what I've been saying here. Let's see, let's go to topic outline. We scroll down to week 6, right? Notice, so by the way, there was going to be a discussion for Essay 2. I canceled that. It was going to be good, but I realized it's going to be hard to squeeze that in. All right, so I canceled that. So you notice there that it's crossed out. Other places, I just made it disappear. See, here on the syllabus, I didn't want to completely erase it, just delete it. I wanted you to see that it was there, but that I deleted it. Everywhere else, I cannot make these delete signs, these delete marks, the line going across. So I just kind of, poof, disappeared it, okay, made it disappear. But I would have preferred to put crossouts there as well. It just isn't, it's either impossible or it's very difficult to do. Here it's also difficult to do, but I did it anyway. All right, okay, so that's gone. So essay number 2, it's available. Item number 328 inside the essays, the Essay 2 folder is already available. But we're taking it one step at a time. And students, that's very important. I don't want you to write the essay. Let me be very, very plain, okay? Do not write your essay right now, okay? So I want you to do it step by step. And I'm practicing what I preach, because I preach all the time and I don't apologize for it, okay? Because what I preach is good, okay? It's the way we're supposed to do things. So I'm practicing what I preach. I have not written essay number 2. I am going to write it step by step along the way. So I have already done my journal assignment 6, okay? Which is what it says here. It became available today, right, at 8 in the morning. And what's already available, I mean, I'm producing this video right now, but what I don't want to say turned in, I don't turn things in, I'm not a student. I posted it, right? I posted a document that has my journal assignment 6, which includes 2 things: my brainstorm or unordered list and my informal outline and ordered list. So, and if you'll, let me show something real quick. Let me backtrack to essay number 1 when we began that on week 1. Journal assignment 1 was just the brainstorm and unordered list. And then journal assignment number 2 was the informal outline and ordered list. So this time, again, we don't have time to do that. Just like I'm telling you, I don't think we had time for the discussion. It was going to be too crunchy, especially with the fact that you have to finish up your essay number 1 and turn it in, number 1, right? Not number 2. I don't want you to do that one. So essay for essay number 2, we've got to do both of them. And for me, since I'm kind of the way I'm doing this is step by step, I was like, I'm the one who gave the assignment, and yet I was like, oh man, I wish I hadn't done that. And for a moment, I thought maybe I can split them up and change the dates. And I thought, you fool, you cannot do that. Well, I already canceled one thing right here because of the lack of time, and now I want to split it up. No. So I resisted that temptation to change it all just because I myself was uncomfortable in doing two things in one. But I went ahead and did it. This happened at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, I don't know when, but I did it. Students, if I can do it, so can you. I'm a faster writer, probably, okay? I'll admit that, I will not deny that. But if I can do it in 2 or 3 hours, you can do it in 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, whatever it takes, right? And of course, I had to do it before the deadline. In your case, you have a couple more days than I did, right? Because I wanted to have that document, and it's there. I hope you've already seen it, right? And we'll talk about it right now. We'll look at it together. All right, so you do have enough time to do it, okay? And there's also some late time in addition to getting it done by the deadline. And what is that deadline? That deadline is October 1st, right? So I had mine done really late at night, September 28th, or really technically really early in the morning today, September 29th. You have till October 1st to get it done, so two days from now. And then there's some late time. Remember that late time is not shown in the syllabus or on the master schedule, but it is shown elsewhere, and I'll show you that. So that's it. Journal assignment 6 is what we need to get done. It is the beginning of it is a way to think on paper, or think through typing something and having it come out on the screen, right? It is a way to think about your essay without thinking and wasting time. Thinking is not always a waste of time, but when it comes to writing, since we are so susceptible to writer's block, that means that all of us are at risk for writer's block. And that's okay when you're writing that prize-winning novel, right, about your life. And, there probably isn't a 2-week deadline on that, right? But there's always a 1-week deadline, or in this case, a 2-day deadline to get an assignment done. So writer's block is our worst enemy. So in order to come up with ideas, you've got to put them down on paper. And so last night, technically this morning, I said, I'm like, oh, okay, fine, I'm going to do it, right? I have to be a good example here, right? And so I went ahead and wrote my brainstorm. And then when I finished my brainstorm, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll wake up tomorrow early in the morning and get that up right now. No. Once again, no. I got my informal outline and order list done as well. I'm really tired right now, but I got it done. Remember that. Get it done. Okay? And I already did it. So I have full moral authority to say, get it done. I didn't want to get it done, but I got it done. Think of that and act on it. All right. So, by the way, yesterday I worked 13 hours. 13 hours. All right. So don't think it was an easy day and woke up late. No, it was a 13-hour day. All right. Now here is the course schedule. Okay. And we've got week 6. And there it is, right? There's journal assignment 6. Became available today, early in the morning, and due on October 1st. Remember, late deadlines are not on here, right? Late deadlines are not there. And by the way, Essay 1, remember, don't get confused, right? But Essay 1, what we've been working on for several weeks since week 1, that's due on October 3rd. And I know there's an October 10th late deadline. So there's a 7-day period beyond that through which you can submit it late, all right? As long as you get it done by then, but try to get it done as close to possible to October 3rd, October 4th, October 5th, as possible. So if you're thinking, well, how am I going to do the work for this essay, the journal, right? And then, since it's kind of like a double journal, right? And then how am I going to get, well, maybe not, maybe get one of them done and if they need a couple more days into the late period for essay 1, that's fine. Notice I've thought of that. I've thought in advance, right, of all these things, right? You and I are both human, right? And so, right, I'm assuming you and all of us are human, and sometimes we need a little extra time, that's fine. And I can't always give extra time, but when I can, I do. And so it's already set. It's already built in. All right, let's go to course content and let's go to week 6, right? Now remember, this week was going to be even crunchier if I had left the discussion assignment in there, which I didn't, right? I had mercy on you and on me, because that would be another thing to grade. And we can live without it. If we couldn't live without it, I wouldn't have canceled it, but we can live without it. So here it is, right? And finally, we see the late deadline, okay? So there is a little bit of wiggle room, right? October 5th. What is October 5th? That's next week, right? So journal assignment 6, I strongly recommend that you get it done, you know, by Thursday or by Friday or by Saturday, right? The 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. But you even have till Monday, and that's always 11:59 p.m. for these things. So till the end of the night on Monday. So see, there's wiggle room there too, right? So on time or late, get it done, right? Like I was saying, get it done. Okay, there's so many. That's like I'm giving you so many chances. Take advantage of one of them and get it done. And notice, then we go back to SA1, right? And I think I'm very careful to always label things. So this JA6 is for SA2. If you read the link all the way, you'll see that it's for SA2. So that way you can't say, well, I got confused if that was for another SA. No, it said SA2. And this one says SA1, right? This is the culmination, the final product of everything we've been doing. By the way, I should say, those of you who didn't write journals, you can still write the essay, right? For essay number 1. So you can do it too and submit it by October 3rd or October 10th, okay? But that's essay 1. Let me stop talking about that one. Here's essay 2. Notice ongoing assignments due during a later week. Notice that it says essay 2, October 31st, and with a late deadline of 11/7. Remember, I said don't do essay number 2 right now. Right now we're doing the pre-writing. We're doing that brainstorm and the outline for it. 2 and 1, 2 assignments in one journal. All right, but it's doable. And the nice thing about these 2 assignments is that one leads to the other, right? If you write a brainstorm with a bunch of ideas out of order, that which is what I did, like I said, late in the night, and then I was about to say that I felt lazy. I didn't feel lazy. I felt tired. Okay, I don't like when people say I felt lazy. Lazy is a bad thing. We're not supposed to be lazy. I felt tired. That's what I felt. Right? But I went ahead and did it anyway. Okay. And the beauty was that after doing my brainstorm, I had a bunch of ideas there that I then used in my outline. So even though it was hard to do 2 assignments in one, they're logically related. One leads to the next. And so that made it easier, even late in the night when I didn't want to do it, right? Because I'd already worked 11 hours. So here are 2 more hours of work, right? So that's why it ended up being 13. All right. So let's see. In education, that's our street cred, by the way. The time you put into your work, into studying for a test, putting together a project, writing an essay, etc., and dealing with your, teachers who say, get it done, right? That's your street cred, right? That's your school cred or whatever you want to call it, right? That's how you can say, I did it when you advise people like your friends, in the future, or children, or even the present nephews, or maybe the present too, right? If you have children, you advise them, get it done. I already did it. So can you. How can I help though, right? How can I help you? Same thing here. How can I help you? Right? I'll help you. Okay. So there is week 6. There's the assignment. Let's click on it. Right? And it's in other places as well. I won't click all over the place, but there's journal assignments. You'll see it in there as well. And you'll see it in the essay folder. In the essay 2 folder, I also stick the journals in there, right? So it's in various places. Here's the assignment. The assignment is to write, like 2 things, right? And the way I labeled it here was a part 1 and a part 2. For part 1, and let's do it on one document, okay? Because when I was thinking about splitting it, I thought, okay, I'll create 2 documents about it. And I thought, wait a minute. I want the students to create 1 document. And so that's what I'm going to do too. So I created 1 document and I labeled one part 1. And that was the brainstorm. And then when I finished all that, I went on to part 2. And I made that informal outline based on the stuff from the brainstorm. So clearly label it part 1, part 2. If you don't put part 1, part 2, I guess I'll figure it out which one is which, but it's much easier if you just put a label on it, right? The title for the whole thing can be simply, you know, Journal Assignment 6. Over here, when you actually go to create the journal, keep things simple, just call it JA6. On your document itself, you might call it Journal Assignment 6, Brainstorm and Outline or something like that. Or you could even simply put just JA6. I won't get upset if that's what you do. That's fine, right? By the way, notice where we are. We're in the entry message box. I'm saying you can create one document, and that's my preference, but you can just stick it all here too. You can just type your put part 1 and then your brainstorm and all that, and then keep going, and part 2 and then the second thing, the outline. You can directly type it here into the entry message box. That's fine. That's fine. But my preference is that you create the document. You create a Word document, type it in there, and then once you're in there, you know, you type JA6 up here, you browse your computer, and then you attach that document and then post. Either way, you're going to hit post, right, to submit it, either way. Okay, and notice what it has here. The guidelines. Well, what is this about, right? Well, yeah, what is this essay about anyway, right? I mean, I'm talking about the process of that I did this and did that, but what is this essay 2? This essay 2 is about defining yourself. And we're gonna have to look at the instructions for essay 2 for that, okay? But that's what it is. It's an essay in which you are going to define yourself according to one specific aspect of your life, one aspect. For essay 1, I think some people are still having trouble narrowing down things to one. In that case, it was one hobby or one pastime. Some people in journals that I graded last night, I graded all day, all afternoon and all night. And then I did this thing that I'm telling you about, this journal. Some people were still writing about 2 or 3 hobbies. The typical thing is to write about 3 hobbies. No. I hope those people, and I've already, I don't know, I feel like anyway, I'll stop talking about that. But my point is, this one right here, for this essay, you're right, you're defining yourself according to one very important characteristic, right? Let me give a real quick one. Let me give a physical one. If a really important characteristic for one of you is that you're tall, then that's it. Your whole essay will be about how the fact that you're tall. And 3 ways, 3 things about that, right? 3 things about the fact that you're tall. Now, in the instructions for the essay, though, I kind of say steer clear of the physical things, you know, tall, short, you know, things like that. Because usually it's more interesting to think about more the things that are on the inside than on the outside, right? That's I think, I don't know if I said that. Well, we'll look at the instructions. Okay, we'll look at it right now, and we'll see if I made it a requirement or if I just said strongly advise that it be a characteristic, kind of like a personal thing rather than an outside external physical thing. Okay, but that's it. That's what essay 2 is. So my brainstorm, I just listed a bunch of stuff. I made the decision which aspect, which characteristic I wanted to define myself by. But I can see that maybe, let me see. No, let me be careful with my words. Decide, make that decision, what characteristic you want to write about, and then write 20 or more phrases or short sentences about it. I think I wrote about 30 or 35, but it says that 20 or more, so it's okay that I wrote more, but minimum 20, okay? What happens if you only write 18 or 19 or 17? You know, if you wrote a bunch of things, okay, but 20 or more is much better. 20 minimum is much better. And then once I had that, I organized it into 5 parts, which should be familiar. An introduction about the characteristic that I chose. And then the 3 things or the 3 areas or something, you'll see. The way that I divided my essay into 3 parts, right? For my body paragraphs A, B, C. And so you'll see that in the outline. I put those labels on there. Okay. Students, don't ignore these things. I don't want to go into these. These are kind of like, again, these are things that could be important. And only when things go wrong, students realize, oh, should I have read that? Oh, that's why my document didn't work and didn't attach and things like that. So please read these. I don't think I should go over these right now. If you have a question about one of these items, shoot me a message on Pronto. That's the easiest way. and I'll further tell you, or even call me on the phone, right? 956-872-2563. That's not a secret, right? It's written in syllabus at several places, and I'll answer your question. Sometimes it's better through voice, right? We've lost the face-to-face thing to a large extent, and you know, speaking to each other, but we can always try, right? Video or a phone to do that, not just always text. Okay, so that's that. So that's done as far as looking at what the assignment is, how to turn it in. But now let's look at essay number 1, or rather number 2, right? So for that, I could go back. I could go back to course content. I think I have to, and I could try to look for inside, drill down to assignments, and then to essays, and then to essay 2, or I could simply go back to, again, to me it feels like the weekly folder is home, because everything I need for the week is there, right? And notice, there it is. There's the essay 2 folder. It's kind of like a shortcut for that. And look at what we find here. Something that I posted. I posted an introduction to essay number 2. So this little video is great. I mean, it's just a PowerPoint that moves along. You know, it takes like, I think like 15 seconds per slide or something like that. And if you can always fast forward it or click along or pause it if it's too fast. Let me click on the PowerPoint that doesn't move. This one right here, right? I'm just downloading it. You can do so too. So we can, like, you know, quickly look at the slides in there, right? This will show it in a pretty summarized way what essay 2 is, so that you can then get going on the journal. So let's see. Notice I click on that link to get going. So there's the, let's do slideshow. The shortcut is F5, but okay, there it is. Introduction to essay 2. In this essay, you will define yourself according to a specific aspect of your life, mostly related to your personality, right? Mostly, or to something else that's very deep and meaningful, something you were born with, something or something that you chose, something beyond just physical, right? So it says there you can define yourself according to your background. So some people would say, you know, according to the place they're from, right? Or their origin, right? My parents have a different country than mine. My country is the United States, and yet I am a heritage Mexican, right? My heritage is from Mexico because my parents were born there, both of them. And so it's almost, so I know I'm an American in that sense. I'm a U.S. person. I very much am a U.S. person. But I also have this like Mexican heritage to me, right? And not too far away. It's my parents. It's not like it's my great-grandparents, right? It's my parents directly. Race or ethnicity, right? Hispanic, Black, Asian, etc. Profession. Okay, now we're getting, and notice I said not physical, and yet that's kind of physical, right? Race. Ethnicity is often more than physical because it involves like a group of people that share something in common. It could be a language in common, for example, Spanish, right? It could be many different things, not always physical characteristics necessarily. So it's not quite a physical thing, right? Your profession or college major. Now we're looking more into choices, right? Right. I mean, you might think, well, you know, like art kind of chose me. All right. And that's why you became an artist, or you know, math chose me. Okay. But let's just say that you chose it too, right? So I think we're getting more into choices. And then certainly also interests, hobbies, or pastimes. Please do not just rewrite, just kind of stick the paragraphs from your essay number 1 and your essay number 2. I will not allow that, okay? So if you're going to choose a hobby or pastime as what defines you, the essay has to be different, has to be focused in a different way than essay number 1. I didn't write that in the instruction sheet, but I'm the one grading both, all right? I'm not going to allow you to just, you know, turn in the same thing, right? So if you can't do that, if you can't write this about this and define yourself like that in a different way, then simply don't write about something else. These are just examples. You can define yourself in other ways. You'll find that I define myself in a different way than this. No sources. You're the source. Your life is your source. Okay? The requirements are the same. 5 paragraphs. You already saw. Introduction, body A, body B, body C, and conclusion, 600 to 200 words long. That right now isn't that important. You know, when I wrote my journal 6, I didn't care how many words were in it. Okay? Right now, it doesn't matter that much. Eventually, this will matter, how the format for essay number 2. And for those of you, which should be probably all of you working on essay number 1, this is the format for that too. MLA format. Here's the list. So here we are, right? Journal assignment number 6. That's the one we're working on. And then you'll see this looks familiar. You did these kinds of journals for essay number 1 as well. And then a first draft will be on October 31st or up until November 7th. And then later there'll be a final draft. For all 3 essays in this class, there will be also a second chance to earn a higher score. And then journal assignment 6, here toward the end of this PowerPoint, we get into your first assignment. This PowerPoint does not cover the other journals, but I figured it should cover at least the first one. And so here it is. Just like I told you, right? But now you can see it here in a nice little outline. Part 1 is this, and 20 or more words or phrases or short sentences. Don't worry about the order, and don't like delete stuff. When I was doing my brainstorm, I just kept typing and typing and typing, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound good. Just move on to the next one. All right? Right? I'm not saying be careless, but just don't spend time on organizing it, because then a storm is not organized, right? There's a reason it's called a brainstorm. Our minds are stormy. There is organization in there is. But sometimes it's hard to notice the organization in our minds. And so we feel like it's kind of out of order and kind of like a storm in there. That's all right. That's good for the first assignment or the first half of this assignment. But then came the time to organize it, and I was very tired. And so I felt like, wow, organizing it's going to be hard. It wasn't. It wasn't. It just wasn't. All right. And let me say this, I had faith that it wouldn't be hard, that I could do it. And there's a reason why I'm saying that word, faith. Okay. All right. Introduction. Okay, and I organized it into the 5 parts of the essay. All right. And then notice it says, watch for more things to come, such as, for example, video. Well, here it is. I'm producing this video and you're watching it, and etc. All right, so let's look at what I did then. 2 things. The next thing should be really quick. And what happened? We had to go back to essay 2. Here is the SS. Now, a lot of this stuff here you really don't have. You've got this, you've got the PowerPoint, you've got there it is. Here is my sample journal, right? Usually I post the video and the sample together. Today I did this first because I wasn't about to work another hour and a half or 2 into what would have been 4 or 5 in the morning now, right, to do the video. So that's why you're getting it about one day later. Okay, so a lot of this stuff you don't have yet because it's the other journals that you'll get later, all right? But this is here. So let's real quickly look at the instructions. Right, and there it is, because there's something I think that's good here at the beginning. The instructions, if we kind of fast forward here, there it is, the 5 paragraphs that you need. What is your characteristic? You say it in your thesis statement, what your characteristic is, the way you're defining yourself. And then you write the paragraphs in the same order for essay number 1, right? You split it into 3 parts. Each one has its own little structure, 3 things that is required for each one. And then the conclusion, loosey-goosey, do whatever you want, just 3 or more sentences. I don't worry about that one. Almost everybody gets an A or a perfect score for the conclusion because you can do whatever you want, right? There are better conclusions than others, right? But most of your work comes in the 3 middle paragraphs, all right? So, but this right here gives you some example thesis statements. Look at these. I'm not gonna read them all. Look at this one. I am definitely a city girl. So imagine that I am imagining, what if a student had, at the end of her introduction, right? She would begin with some like opening thoughts, some opening sentences. I imagine a student might write something like, I was born in a really small town. In fact, well, not even a town, I was born in the outskirts. So like, mostly I saw like, there were like horses everywhere and bales of hay and things like that. Then we moved to a really small town, and I always felt out of place, right? I always felt like this is too slow for me and things like that, right? I personally am not saying that's bad. I'm just saying, imagine a student writes an essay like that, and that's fine, right? What's wrong with that? Nothing. The student is giving the experience, opening up the topic, leading into it. And so after 3 or more of those sentences, gets to the point. Even though that's where I was born and blah, 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 I am definitely a city girl, right? There's the definition. That person is defining herself as a city girl. And so then she'll she'll have three sections. She'll divide her essay into three parts, kind of like three ways or three things that show that she's a city girl. This, and that, okay? Here are some other possible theses. I'm not gonna pick this one because it's kind of a more common thing. Let me pick this one. I am an heir of my Navajo ancestors. Wow. Wow. And this is wow too, right? I mean, there's nothing unwow about it. There's just more people in that category, right? But this one, I am the heir. So it's kind of like saying my definition for myself is the one that's been handed down to me by these ancestors, right? And that's true, can be true about all of us and our ancestors too, right? But look at that. That'd be interesting, right? Now let's look into, and that's like what? Race or ethnicity, right? Groups of people, right? Profession, the first one, the city girl thing was kind of the birthplace, kind of place you were born in, right? Etc. Notice this one about Monterrey, right? I consider myself a real regiomontano, right? Montano. Okay, but going into this one, profession. Watch this one. Mayra is my name and math is my game, right? So here's someone defining herself by her favorite subject and possibly her profession one day, math teacher, mathematician, or something else that uses math, right? And we'll find out, right? That thesis is just like to kind of give us a little hint, right? It's almost like the trailer, right? If you're thinking of a movie, the thesis is almost like this introduction is like the trailer, right? And the rest of it's the movie, right? So I don't know. I mean, whatever, right? The point is that I like this trailer. Hopefully the movie wouldn't be disappointing, right? That'd be just as good an essay as that sentence. And look at this one. I am and then here's interests, hobbies, or pastimes. Math to me seems more than an interest or a hobby. It seems like something that's a little like a cut above and becomes a profession usually, but it can be a hobby too. But in hobby, I put, I am the Dallas Cowboys #1 fan, right? So, that turns into an essay. Oh, let me give you some advice about interests, hobbies, or pastimes. This is the easiest way to prevent the problem I mentioned before. If write about a different one. If in essay #1, you wrote about something, right, about watching football, right? I'm thinking of this right here. Well, then for this essay, write about a different hobby or pastime that defines you, that makes you who you are, right? Right? Okay. So for example, I would write about the bass, right? Because in the other one, I wrote about the ukulele, right? So maybe for this one, I would say, the way I define myself is as a bass player. That's what defines me, okay? I didn't, and I'm not going to because you're gonna see my example in just a moment, or maybe you already watched it. So see, this gives you an idea, and I didn't pick any of these things, actually. I picked a different thing as my defining characteristic because these are just examples, okay? So what did I pick? What I picked was, you can see it here, was this. Here's my finished product. Part 1 was my brainstorm or unordered list. And I thought, you know what? I was going to put, I have no shame in saying this, that I'm a conservative. I'm a conservative person. But then as I thought about it, I think I'm conservative because I'm a man of faith. Now, you can also be liberal and be a person of faith, all right? I'm not going to say that you can't, but I'm talking about me, right? So I'm like, how did I become that thing that I was maybe thinking of using as the example? In my case, it's my faith that led me to that. So I thought that's more important, and it's certainly more important than being a bass player, right? At least, again, I'm speaking for me. Someone else might say something else, and of course that's fine. It's your life and it's your essay, right? So I am a man of faith is what I realized. That's what I want to write about. And notice how simple the thesis statement is. On the essay 1 journals, like the introduction, what was that in journal assignment 3? I saw some really long thesis statements that were out of control. You got to control that thesis statement. And no one watches a 17-minute trailer, right? I mean, maybe they do. Maybe sometimes you wish the trailers were longer, right? But if it's a really crappy movie, how crappy it is will come out in that 17-minute trailer. So if you're gonna push a really bad movie, make it a really awesome 1-minute trailer, right? Or even 30 seconds, right? That's the way that's the way it is. That's the way it is. It needs to be short, right? And to the point. And your essay will be great, right? It's not gonna be substandard. So this is it. This was my brainstorm. And I think it's probably about 20 items per page. So I wrote more than 40, but the requirement is 20 or more. If you fill up a page, that already has kind of this spacing in it, that's fine too. As much as you can. Remember, the more you write, the easier it'll be to the more things you'll have to organize into your sections that will become paragraphs. These become sentences. These short phrases become sentences. Now, I advise you not to write sentences. Please, I didn't write sentences. Although my phrases are very long, they're very close to being sentences. But that would have slowed me down. If I had to put the subject, the verb, logically combined with prepositions and all the things that make the sentence grammatical and all that. You don't have to worry about that there. Okay. Let me just, to believe that people are, so what was it? I have the faith about these things. I have faith that, okay, I see what happened. When I was young, and I'm talking about when I was like 21, I had the faith to not completely leave college. I didn't leave it forever, but to take a pause in my college education and go on a mission for my church. No one forced me to. Some people think that it's a requirement in the church that I go to in my religion to do that. It isn't. It's a choice. I chose to do this. Okay? I had faith to do that. But this one, I had the faith to start a new career. About 2-3 years ago, I started a new career. It's a part-time thing that I do on the side. But it's important to me. And I had the faith to do it because I have this career too, and it's hard to do both. And I usually work 60+ hour weeks because I have 2 jobs, right? Right now I don't. Right now there's not that much work in my second job. So I'm devoting my time just to this, and that's fine. But the point is that I had the faith to do that. And I have the faith to be the father of 6 children and be involved in their lives. Not, my wife will take care of all of that. No, I do what I can, as much as I can. To believe in a higher power, no shame in saying it, in God. I have faith to do that. It's hard to because I can't see God, right? And really, I can't see anything, right? I can't see God, and yet I believe in him. I couldn't see my master's degree when I was a junior in high school, or when I was a 7th grader, or even when I was a freshman, my first year in college. I couldn't see my master's degree that I would eventually get. That's how faith is. By the way, whether we're religious or not, that's how faith is. That's how hope is, right? We can't see it at first. Later, we see it. Once we've gone through the work and through the problems and through, and you're like, if you're religious, you're saying amen. If you're not, you don't have to say amen. You're saying that's right. I don't know. I don't want to say something like some slang thing because I'm no good at the new slang. So I don't know what to say. It'll just sound silly. To focus on the good people and on the good in people and not on their faults. I have faith that I can do that. That I can not just go around looking at people and say, oh, look at what they're doing wrong. That I can be better than that, right? I have faith to sing karaoke, right? It's like, wow, you're talking about all these philosophical things, but then you talk about karaoke. Well, I have faith that I can have fun singing karaoke and not worry if I sing ugly or if people think, oh, look at that fat guy up there, singing, right? Who cares, right? I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna sing karaoke because I have faith. So that's what I did. I defined myself as a person of faith. And it's all out of order. So I'm just picking and choosing here and there because it doesn't matter, right? The order didn't matter. But then I thought, well, I have to. So I began, how do you begin this one? I typed this, I typed that, right? I typed the 5 sections and then I filled it in. So I typed my 5 sections and then I made the decision, what 3 things do I want to focus on? Like what? There's a lot of what in here. There's a lot of family stuff. There's a lot of, and there's some fun. The fun thing I think is music. There's some stuff about music in here. And there's educational stuff, right? That, like I was saying, the thing about the degrees, to believe that I can get through my schooling at various levels, to go to college, do my best, and know that the sacrifice will pay off, because like I said, we don't know what's going to happen until we do it. And we really don't know what's going to happen until we did it. When we look back and look what I did, right? We really won't know till we already did it. So I figured those are the 3 topics. I thought, I'll have my introduction, and I added something, and notice I put some things here. So some stuff that'll turn into the sentences that come before my thesis. And in my thesis, I wrote an optional essay map. You're not required to put like the 3 things up front, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it for this one. And I think I'm going to recommend, I'm not going to require it, but I recommend that you do it too. So my thesis will be like this. I am a man of faith in many areas, 3 of which are education, relationships, and music. So I don't think I'm going to write it like that. I think I'm going to write, I am a person of faith, or I am a man of faith, especially in education, especially when it comes to education, relationships, and music, right? I'm a man of faith in other things too, right? I do everything by faith. Okay, and remember, religion or no religion, I think we all do things by faith. We believe in something that hasn't happened yet, but that we think have a pretty good idea that it's going to happen in the future, right? Whether that future is a week from now or 10 years from now. Imagine you want to be a doctor. Well, it's going to take about 10 years to put your practice. You want to be a doctor. And that doesn't include K through 12, right? College and residency and all that stuff. So education. So I decided education will be that one. And then relationships and music will be the B and C. And I don't want to go over and over to it, but I just organized it. And notice I'm using some little marks. Doesn't matter what marks you use. If you like using a Roman numeral 1 and A and then little, you can use whatever you want. Whatever, just organize it, right? And I thought, split into parts. Education before college, things I did that required faith. Things that I did during college, right? And then after college, because learning doesn't stop after you get your degree, okay? And so you'll see how you can read it yourself. Family, relationships. Well, relationships in my family, wife, kids. I don't know if I include like my parents and all that, but that would have been good too. But I think I'm focusing more on what's my condition, my situation now. And then myself, faith in the things that pertain to me as a person, right? Not just like always like, my kids and my wife, important as they are. I have to take care of myself too, right? And improve. And here's one, faith that I'll get better. Faith that I won't always be stuck with the way I am. I like the way I am, I'm good, but I can be better. I can do things, for example, that one about not judging people, and just focusing on the positive, right? If I need to help someone to get better, of course, I'm gonna tell them, you know what, you need to get better at this. For example, my children, I have to. It's a requirement, and I like doing it to help them get better. But also telling them, wow, look at the good things you've done, right? And focus on the positive. No ser conformista, a phrase in Spanish, right? Not to settle, right? I have the faith not to settle where I am, but to be better. Not to say I'm better than you. No, not because of that. Not to say I'm better than other people. No, I'm better than what I used to be. That's what I'm talking about. And my relationship with God, right? Basically, to believe that I can do things the way He has taught that we're supposed to do things, and not the way usually what I want to do is almost always the opposite of what He wants, of what God wants. And so I have faith that I can improve on that and do better, right? And that all people will benefit from that, whether they believe in God or not, that doesn't matter. But that all I can be someone that'll help people, and people, yeah, I like that person because they're nice and they want to help, and that kind of thing. And then music. I don't know if it's the best for last, but kind of like the least heavy topic for last. It could also go first, but I think it'll be like the relief after those heavier topics. Good topics, but kind of heavy topics. Singing. I had a bad experience. Someone implied that I wasn't one of the good singers. Eventually, I overcame that. I'm still overcoming that. I don't think maybe I've overcome it completely, but I had faith that I'm going to sing anyway, no matter what that person said. And you know what? They probably didn't even mean it that way. But you can read it. You can see what happened. And it doesn't matter. And then playing instruments. I never thought I could play the guitar because my fingers are too fat. Well, they're still too fat. And I struggle to play the guitar. I have a wide string guitar that's easier to play because my fingers fit. But most guitars are not wide string, so I also have a regular neck guitar that is hard to play because my fingers are fat, right? But that's fine. That's not going to stop me. I have faith that I'm going to get it, and I usually eventually get it. And I'll try to play a little bit for you in some video later on. I'll try to play. Faith that even if it doesn't come out right in whatever video I produce, so you can watch me play, right? So my instrument, the guitar. So that you can see that he puts his money where his mouth is, right? He's willing to show that faith by actually showing it to us, right? Not just talking about it. In my conclusion, I have faith that I'll write something when the time comes. I'm not gonna, I didn't bother with it, okay? I didn't bother with it. I'm like, I don't want to spend another 5 minutes on this. When the conclusion, I feel, this is my experience, always comes naturally. After writing 4 paragraphs on a topic, what to say at the end will come naturally. What is it we need? 3 sentences? Easy, right? So I think that'll come naturally. By the way, you know what I also do? I write the title at the end. I seldom start, sometimes I do start with the title, but I usually write my title at the end. After writing everything I wrote, I know what the perfect title is for this essay or for this story or for whatever. So not only the conclusion that is at the end, I write at the end. I often write the title, which is at the beginning, but it comes to me at the end. Okay. And notice I have faith that something good will come to me. A snazzy title that I can put on it. So it gets people's attention. Okay, that's what I wrote. What do you think of it? All right. I look forward to reading yours, and along the way, right? This is the whole point. Along the way, you'll show me pieces. You'll show me, a couple of paragraphs. After this one, it'll be like the introduction and the body paragraph A. And I'll give you feedback along the way, right? And I hope for essay 1, we're headed toward some good products after the feedback I've given you. And for this too, I hope that what you do here will lead you to a very good essay that you are proud of, first and foremost. It's not just about, sure, you can try to please the teacher and show me a good product and I'll love it. But first and foremost, you'll be proud of it. Most of the work I did in school, not all of it, but a lot of it I was proud of. And proud in a nice way, not in a bad way. But I mean, like, wow, I did that. Look at that. It took all that time. And I like this part. This part over here is not as good, but hey, most of it's good. and then teachers are often very nice. And something like, wow, the teacher put a 95 on it. I think I would have put more like an 87, right? But teachers are nice, and I'll be nice. I'll grade it as leniently and generously as possible, acknowledging what you did right. But since there is a second draft, that first grade might be an opportunity to bounce to a higher grade, okay? So do the best you can, and remember you will have a second chance, but often the better you do on the first draft, the easier it is there's just a few things to get done for the second draft. But right now, first things first, we're just on journal assignment 6, right? So get it done, right? Do the best you can. Do it with faith, do it with hope, right? That you can get this done. I've done my best, spacing the assignments out, right? So that this is doable. And anything beyond that, talk to me and I'll help you out. When you get stuck, talk to classmates, talk to me, talk to even people. You can even talk to people for whom English and writing is not their favorite topic, their strongest thing. This is an English class, people who speak Spanish and not English. You can talk to them too, because you can talk about ideas with anyone, right? So talk with people around you. If it's not something private that you don't want to share, of course, right? Talk to people around you, and lots of people can help you get unstuck and get moving on your assignment, okay? Motivate yourself, but let others motivate you too. All right, that's it. So I will sign off until the next time. Bye-bye.